Sarsfield, who you all know as our videographer, and who is an ex-president of the Hollywood Historical Society. We call him the Video Vagabond. I almost said voyeur, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you know him, and we had a blast doing the film together. Just again, reminding you at the end, we'll have the drawing for the basket, but you can buy tickets in advance if you like. Okay, on with the show.
Well, can I say a few words? Welcome, everybody. What a great turnout. Thank you so much for coming out to see the Broadwalk Biography. It's a 60-minute musical journey about our Broadwalk, starting from the south, going up to the north. And I just want to give a few shout-outs to my groupies, Helene and Isa, who've now seen the movie 3 times. So, and I'm flattered. And Karen, too, has seen it 3 times. And you know, it's a great movie. I hope everybody loves it. I did make a couple notes here I just want to talk about real quick. After the movie, we will have a Q&A period real quick. And if anyone wants to leave a testimonial, I'd be honored. I'll be in the back of the room with that camera with Claude is now manning the camera. Thank you, Claude, for helping out recording it. And also, I just want to give a special shout out to Jean, who is back there, who welcomed everybody, and Kat, who are in the movie. And I think there's one more thing. And a special thanks to Karen, Albertson, all those names, sorry. But this movie couldn't have been made without you, and I'm very honored. It has been in a few film festivals, including the Hollywood, Florida Film Festival and the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival, where it won audience favorite in both of those. And I also entered into film festivals around the world, and it's actually won awards around the world in Athens, in Italy. So it's very exciting, and I'm excited to see where this movie will lead. The Video Vagabond. So if Valerie could turn the lights off in the back, we'll begin. Welcome to Hollywood Beach, my favorite beach in the world. We have everything: fresh air, sunshine, sand, Atlantic Ocean waves, and on the Broadwalk, lots of shops, bars, music, hotels, people watching, and history, lots of history. Why is it called the Broadwalk? Let's find out. Come stroll with me, meet some friends, and learn more about Hollywood Beach. Let's go! Woo! Joseph Wesley Young invited the entire nation to his city, Hollywood by the Sea. Construction was underway on the Hollywood Broadwalk, a unique cement promenade 30 feet wide, stretching along the shoreline for a distance of 1.5 miles. But it's not made of boards. It was at one point, and you'll hear about that later. But arguably, it's not very broad either. The Hollywood Beach Broadwalk runs along the Atlantic Ocean and is now 2 to 2.5 miles long, depending who you ask. The official boundaries are Jefferson Street to Sheridan Street, but some opinions include Harry Berry and North Beach Parks. Our stroll will start on the south end and wend our way north. Let's start our tour at the Hollywood Beach Cultural and Community Center, just south of Hollywood Boulevard. Recently, the city of Hollywood began accepting proposals to develop a 30-story multi-use complex, rental, residential, shops, and a new oceanfront community center. Some residents feel the beach is getting overcrowded with high-rises. Others feel the tax and lease revenue will greatly benefit this city.
I'm concerned about this whole property being developed. It's just a really nice, quiet family area. It's a local spot. We love this spot because it's quiet and it's open. So we're really hurting ourselves if we get rid of everything that makes Hollywood Beach special and unique and just turn it into another overdeveloped South Florida beach.
What will happen here? Only time will tell. Hollywood is constantly changing, creating new stories and remembering the old. Make sure to pay the meters at all the parking lots or you will quickly be ticketed or booted. I recommend, if possible, to ride your bicycle, take the bus, and there's even a service called the Circuit that will pick you up downtown Hollywood and take you to the beach. Once you're here, there's lots of fun ways to get around. You can either rent bikes, all kinds of bikes. Rollerblade, four-wheel, walk, run, or whatever contraption. Just no motorized vehicles, no pets, and no skateboards. And don't come on vacation and leave on probation. Hollywood Beach has also banned all styrofoam and single-use plastic in the restaurants, so don't bring it to the beach either. And please, don't litter. The southernmost restaurant on the Broadwalk is the Mermaid Queen. So we got our mushroom and mahi tacos. Doesn't that look tasty? And you can also drink out of a coconut. The most notable building on Hollywood Beach is the Hollywood Beach Resort. It was built in 90 days, and some say it's haunted.
To talk about Hollywood Beach, you have to talk about Joseph Young Jr. But the major thing that he was planning for his city was the boulevard would lead to the beach island with a major hotel set on that land. And that became known as the Beach Hotel, Hollywood Beach Hotel. Some of his ideas, in fact, quite a few of them, he had already gotten from Long Beach, California, where he lived from age of 20, so 1902 to about 1915. And Long Beach was just developing as a resort while he was living there. So among other things that he saw them put in was a cement walk along the sand with shops on one side and sand on the other. So he built a broadwalk made of cement, pink cement. The pink cement blocks of the broadwalk ended up in North Lake after the 26 hurricane, and for a while it was just wood, but now it's back to being a Broadwalk, and it was always the Broadwalk. So Young's plan was to put his hotel not only on the island, but definitely overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. That was a step that he did. Fisher and, of course, Flagler had both built major hotels in Miami, but both of those faced Biscayne Bay. None of them were facing the ocean. So Young came along and his hotel was on the Atlantic. To get to the beach, he couldn't use this area. He couldn't just run his boulevard right down because this was all marsh. So he had to create the lakes, and while he was doing that, he was building kind of a causeway leading down to the intercoastal, which would be the boulevard. At the same time, he had to get a bridge in. So he was able to come down Johnson Street. They narrowed the canal a little on Johnson Street, put a barge in that they could drive over, but also open, so boats could go by. So Johnson Street was the first street that led to the beach island. And then he put in Ocean Drive, which is still there. And gradually he and his workmen were working their way toward where the boulevard was going to come along the beach. And at the same time, other workmen were putting in the causeway and the boulevard leading to the beach hotel.
There was no other building at the time this thing was built that was more grand in Florida. It was the largest concrete hotel in the state when it was built. So over the years, because modern times and new hotels, it kind of went downhill a little bit, and then the State Department of Transportation built a new bridge over the Intercoastal Waterway, which caused the ramp to jut in front of the hotel and ruin the grand entrance, which there was fountains and gardens and landscaping. It turned into the Bible College for about 10 years. It was a gigantic college for seminary students. And then they decided they were going to sell because it was too big for them, and a group of investors bought it and thought that they would turn it into the Ocean Walk Mall, and it would be this fabulous oceanfront hotel and mall with the shops and all this other stuff. Ocean Walk went bankrupt within 1 year. For some reason, it just never took off, and it's been in limbo ever since. When it was new, the finest shops were in that hotel. It was like the Breakers. It was like the Biltmore. It was like the National in Bal Harbor. This was not a cheap place to stay. It was very expensive to stay there. Eddie Cantor stayed there a lot. I mean, he even had a radio broadcast from the Hollywood Beach Hotel. But now when you walk through, there's nothing there. But if you want to see something, if you want to see what the old hotel looked like, the best place to do that is the second floor. And you stand and you look west, and the original arch doorways are there, and the original coved plaster ceiling is still there, and the original terrazzo from 1925. The whole entire floor is terrazzo.
Where was the arcade? Was that on the first floor?
That was on the first floor. That was the point of view. That's where. If you want to know what the Ocean Walk Mall is today, there is a Facebook page called Abandoned Florida Sites, and that mall is on it, because you can literally walk to the south end of the mall and see the escalator that they put in the 80s when Miami Vice was still hot, and it's pink and blue ceramic tile, the same tile, and the escalator is rusted. I literally rusted in place. The fountain that surrounds the escalator is bone dry with debris and rocks and garbage. It's literally like abandoned, yet in that same lobby, in that same interior space, you walk a few hundred feet and there's the lobby for the hotel. It doesn't get any weirder than that.
In the summer of 1945, the Navy was still at the Hollywood Beach Hotel. The Navy had taken over the hotel. They just said, we need it and we're going to have it. So they did. They had their men stationed there. I heard that they were going to hire somebody to work in their ship service. So I went down there, and believe it or not, they hired me. The ship service was like a store. And they had other things there, probably postcards and things that they could send home. And I was 16 years old, and another friend of mine that I went to school with, Montina Montaigne, she also worked there. The two of us did. And the sailors, yeah, they were hitting on us and asking us out and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun. They were nice. When the school started, of course, I had to quit and go back to school. But I've never forgotten my time there. We have this book that was called The Quarterdeck, which is when the people were stationed there. And down here, they have a picture of the ship's service. And that could be me standing there. It looks like it might be. Anyway, that's when I was there, and that's what it looked like.
One of my favorite strolls, especially on a hot day, is a cool walk through what I call the catacombs. This area used to contain an outdoor organic market, and before that, an outdoor gym. Expensive shops line this passage. It goes behind Grumpy Gary's, which for years was O'Malley's. At night, let's say this alley gets very colorful and musical. Don't forget to stop at Georgie's on the way to pick up all your sundries and beach needs. Unfortunately, our Grand Hotel sits in a perpetual state of decay, while the Breakers in Palm Beach and the Biltmore in Coral Gables have celebrated and readapted their historic hotels and are reaping the benefits of treasuring their past by preserving and using these important buildings. Heading north, we pass by Logan's Bar, formerly Booze, a hookah bar, a Russian bathhouse, and a local brewery. This is the old McGowan's. Do you remember the movie Porky's? This was the scene where Meat had his face stuck in the bowl of chili. It's full of really eclectic art and stuff. You really should check it out. Here is the old Toucans. It was once a private residence. You can still see the fireplace in the old living room. A few years ago, it was featured on the TV show called Bar Rescue with John Taffer. And he changed the name to Bonnie and Reed's in honor of the two female pirates who may have hidden their booty nearby. Over the years, Mamacita's has taken almost the entire block over, and there's always a lively vibe.
Ay, compadre. Te veo vacilando y con otras coqueteando. Te digo. Fui chopata, no greñota.
More 1- and 2-story mom and pop restaurants. One of my favorites is this Turkish place. They have great stuffed grape leaves. This Haagen-Dazs place has been here forever. The owner is really nice and friendly. And then don't forget to take a picture with Madison, the mermaid.
Hi, it's me, the gingerbread man. I'm here with Madison the mermaid on Hollywood Beach.
Right up the way there is the Coral House Hotel. It is now the oldest building on Hollywood Beach, and it used to be a hospital. Further up the Broadwalk, there's Ocean Alley Restaurant. This is a great place for seafood, and they have live music. And then next door, this is what it used to look like.
One day I was riding my bicycle by one of the restaurants that had recently renovated and thought, that looks nice, I'm gonna have to check it out. 2 days later, the whole area caught fire and the City of Hollywood Fire, Rescue, and Beach Safety Team quickly extinguished it.
They've been doing a nice job renovating, and I look forward to seeing what comes there next. Here's the Sheldon Hotel. There used to be a Harley-Davidson apparel store on the first floor and a bar in the basement that was owned by the same owners as the famed Limelight nightclub in New York City. And on the corner, my friend Dave Levine used to paint your portraits before he moved to downtown Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Oh. Where are we and why is this place so special?
We're in front of the Sheldon Hotel, and it had a gift shop, and my friend owned it, Ruth Trotter. She sold fruit to send to families all over when you came here for a vacation, and nice jewelry, lovely people. It was fun. It's seasonal. It was very few people here in the summer. The beaches were beautiful, but there was nobody here.
The Hollywood Beach Casino was built in 1924. It wasn't a gambling destination, it was a swimming destination. With 824 dressing rooms, 80 shower baths, a shopping arcade, and an Olympic-sized saltwater swimming pool, fed from the ocean. The pool also hosted water shows, with Johnny Tarzan Weissmuller performing here.
And rolling.
Okay, this is the south side of the casino pool. This is where the baby pool was. It had grass, a huge pool, Adirondack chairs, a big area. The kids could play all day. They take naps there. Then you go up the steps into the casino pool, and it was large salt water, but I'll tell you about the front. As you come in, there was a big clear block thing, and the ocean water would come right in. You could see it gushing. The swimming, the high schools, and everybody had their practice here. And they had a swimming group called the Dolphinettes, and they used to practice here. But it was really, really nice, salt water.
In front of the Margaritaville is the Flow Rider, where you can learn how to surf.
I discovered Stumpy a couple years ago as I was scuba diving off of Margaritaville. There is an outlet pipe from the old saltwater pools, and there's a big rock pile, which is an artificial reef, and there are a lot of fish there. I saw this one fish without a tail, and I thought he was going to be a goner. And the next time I went out diving, he was there, and again, and again, and again. And I shot him with my camera, of course, for about a year, and then he disappeared. And I was so sad. I thought it was a circle of life thing. And this year he's reappeared, so I'm really excited.
So hopefully maybe we'll get to see Stumpy today.
Yeah!
I think it's appropriate that Margaritaville stands here today. It was once a beach destination, and it still is. Margaritaville recently got sold to some new investors, so we'll see what happens there. They also made a deal with the city to take over the programming of the band shell. Almost every night from 7 to 9, there is a live band at the bandstand. Mostly classic rock and country and salsa, but occasionally some disco, jazz, or classical music, or a tango.
It's Poseidon ruling the seas, and there is a mermaid in it, and there is a water dragon, and the water is going, the waves going all around the building.
You find something new every time. Like I just saw another fish that I forgot was even there. Just when I looked at it again. You can find many things just by standing here and taking a good look.
We take pleasure, in when people come in and they look at it and they take pictures and they send it to their loved ones, friends, all over the world.
Heading towards the Intercoastal, you'll see Rocco's Pizza. And if you've never had a breakfast pizza, I suggest you get one right away. For less than $20, you can feed 4 people. Also, Margaritaville built a nice restroom. There used to be a tourist information kiosk there, but that closed. Just north of Margaritaville is the Rooftop Resort, a nudist resort with a rooftop patio and pool. Here's the Tangerine Tea Room where DeHaan sits today. This used to be another destination where people would hang out, have drinks, dance, and visit with friends. And you can see that the bandshell wasn't always there. Heading north, we'll pass Nick's, a really popular place, especially late at night. They had a recent renovation that took them a while, but they're back up and running and just as popular as ever. This is what it used to look like.
This is Nick's bar. But when I was a little girl, my Aunt Gladys and Uncle Pal used to jitterbug here on the Broadwalk at night, and they would take me, and I would sit on the corner of the Broadwalk with a glass bottle of Coke and pickles or potato chips, whatever they gave me. Everybody danced every night. It was wall-to-wall music, fun. And maybe there was a little shop down there. But between here and Johnson Street, there was nothing except the beach. And everybody had big black inner tubes from trucks. That's what we use for the ocean.
Next door, the Diane Oceanfront Suites was hit by a hurricane pretty bad a few years ago, and it took a couple years for them to renovate it, but it looks great, and it's one of the nicest hotels right on the beach. Further north, we'll pass by the Broadwalk restaurant, and on the right, you'll see a dune. Now, some people want to protect the beach with dunes, and some people want to see the ocean. So we'll talk more about that later and learn more about the Dune program. Past Florio's Pizza, grab another slice, and we're in Charno Park. Charno Park has a kids' water play fountain and a great outdoor gym. They're also the home to the historic paddleball courts. This was the original paddleball courts. Below that are the pavilions or the ovens.
We had the ovens. They called them the pavilions sometimes, but we called them the ovens. Some families would come in the morning and make breakfast. They have beautiful tables, everything there. Then nobody was there for a while. Then people came in the afternoon and made hamburgers, hot dogs, and were there till about 5 o'clock. And then everybody went home. But it was really nice. The grills were big iron. Oh, and it was always clean. Nobody left trash.
Hollywood Beach does a real nice job on Christmas and the 4th of July fireworks show. Although the fireworks show ends and then everybody runs out of there and it creates a horrible traffic jam. I wish they had the band shell or something that would play music till midnight. The annual candy cane parade, and we have a bicycle parade, and the decorations are really colorful.
This is a nice aerial photograph of Hollywood, and it's from about I-95. It looks like this was under construction at the time. This is Hollywood Boulevard and the different circles heading out toward the beach. And here is the Hollywood Beach Hotel. This is South Lake, this is North Lake, and then if you just follow my finger along here, this point right here is Johnson Street. And just a little bit north of Johnson Street is Garfield Street. And Garfield Street is a place that I spent time at in the early 1970s when I was a teenager. And my friends and I would go there and we'd hang out at the beach. Garfield Street is sort of famous for its paddleball courts, which are now considered historic. They were designated historic by the city of Hollywood. We did spend time there. We mainly hanging out on the beach. I tried to get a suntan, never could, just burned. And when we wanted something to eat or drink, we usually went to the Holiday Patio. This is now Florio's at the corner of Garfield Street and the Broadwalk. At the time it was called Holiday Patio, and this is what it looked like. And so we would hang out there, and we would usually, pool our money and grab a hot dog and an order of fries and a Coke that we would split, because that's all the money we had at the time. One summer, a friend and I, who used to go to the beach practically every day, we met a couple of cute guys, and they were from Connecticut. They were staying there with their parents on the other side of the paddleball courts at a place that at the time was called the Rosemont Apartments. That originally they were called the Carlson Apartments. And this is a picture of the Carlson Apartments, postcard. And this is also a picture, and I like this one because this shows that the Broadwalk did not extend at that point, and there are now buildings in front of these apartments, which are now called the Oasis condominiums. And then last, I have this, which says Rosemont Apartments on this little sign up here. And again, the buildings that are now in front of it are not there. And you can see that these buildings have curved walls. This is called streamlined modern architecture. And they are attributed to Bayard Lukens, who is one of my favorite Hollywood architects.
This is the bike path. Don't walk on the bike path. People don't like that.
My parents brought me to Hollywood, Florida during the summertime of 1957. I was 10 years of age at the time, and we checked into the Sands Apartments on Hollywood Beach. When I was in my hometown of Spencer, West Virginia, I used to go swimming at a very large public swimming pool. When I arrived in Hollywood at the Sands, there was a whole ocean of water right before me. I was thrilled because I loved swimming. And so one of the members of the staff at the Sands took me out and showed me an imaginary line, and that I was not to go beyond this particular point. Otherwise, I might be bitten by barracudas. So I would go out and I would swim. And of course, once in a while, I would go beyond the imaginary line. And I did start thinking about those barracudas, and I would swim back to shore. Of course, over the years, I've gone back to Hollywood Beach a number of times, but I have yet to see a barracuda. The end.
I was born in 1957. I know I don't look that old. We lived at 2206 Fillmore Street, and I remembered it was 3 miles to the beach, and every weekend we would go to Hollywood Beach to the Broadwalk. We didn't really have coolers back then. It was an old-fashioned igloo container, and my mother would make sandwiches, and we'd have a picnic on the beach. I remember the old stores and restaurants up and down Johnson Street. There were trampolines, a miniature golf course. There was an arcade there where we would play. We'd win tickets to buy prizes, kind of like the Dave & Buster's of its time. There was a little aquarium, restaurants, novelty shops. Some of the old motels are still there, actually standing. The DeVito's by the Sea was knocked down to make way for the Positano. I had the most happy memories. My father teaching me how to swim in the ocean, putting me on his shoulders, going to the sandbars where some lifeguards would be sitting outside, telling us to go back because there were sharks in the area. And I had the pleasure of going with my friends in the late 60s, early 70s, and then bringing my own children back into the 90s. And as I got older, I would walk up and down the Broadwalk, back and forth. And it was, sometimes I would go to Dania Beach and all the way to the Quado, Maine, and it would be a 7-mile walk. I can't do it anymore, but those were the happiest days at the Broadwalk and the beach.
Further north, you'll see the Marriott Hotel, one of the larger hotels. It's very popular, has live entertainment, good food. And right next door is the Walkabout Beach Resort. They have a tiki bar with live entertainment, and also the Riptide is nearby. That's a lot of fun too. Further north, there's Ocean's 13. Ocean's 13 used to be Ocean's 11, and the same owner owned a bar in Hallandale on Federal Highway. Well, that was years ago, and Ocean's 13 was closed for a while. Then it opened up as Ocean's 12, and now it's Ocean's 13. Just do yourself a favor, when you're on the beach, stay hydrated. On July 4th, I saw 3 people being carted away for dehydration. So drink up! Water. What's the secrets to the water fountains here?
There's water fountains on every block.
What about this water fountain? Should you drink from this
Water
one?
fountain works, but it's not cold. The cooler doesn't work. The next block, it's cold. The cooler works. If you go down to the walkabout, the next block, the cooler works. It's cold. If you go all the way past the Positanos, that cooler works. It's good.
How do you know which ones work and which ones?
I hit every one of them. Some of them don't work at all. No water comes out, nothing. So you're on your own. This place is it's paradise. If the water fountain works.
There's a few more really colorful, fun houses all up and down Hollywood Beach. A lot of them are available for Airbnbs, I hear, but I've never stayed in one. The last major building that you're going to see on the Broadwalk is the Positano. It was built within the last 10 or 15 years, and it's an upscale condominium complex. Next door at North Beach Park, there's a tower that you can climb up. Before the Positano, you could see all the way down to the beach, all the way clear down to Miami. The tower has been closed the last couple times I went to see it. I don't know what's going on. But who knows, maybe they're going to build a taller tower to look over top of the Positano. Wouldn't that be nice? Further up in North Beach Park, at the end of Sheridan Street, are the picnic areas. It has grills, picnic tables, lots of sea oats you can sit under and be shady. It's a really good time to spend a Saturday or Sunday, but get there early because it fills up quick. All up and down this area is metered parking and also entrances so you can enter onto the beach. This part of the beach tends to be a little less crowded, especially during the week. So let's go for a swim or build a sandcastle. We could even get an ice cream.
It was, I don't know, somewhere around 5 or 10 acres of land that was laying here fallow, not being used. Went from A1A down to the ocean. And one day I said, you know, let's do something about that. I went to the property owner, whose name was Bill Horvitz. Bill Horvitz was the president of Hollywood Incorporated, who was the largest property owner in the city of Hollywood. The Hollywood JCs negotiated a deal with Mr. Horvitz, and that was conditioned upon that if he got ticked off about anything at any time, if we weren't doing the right thing, or if his relationship with the city of Hollywood was not favorable, he had a right to be able to ask us to leave the park. There was about 5 of us got together, and we had bought the lumber to create 10 picnic benches out of the 2x8s, and we also got a hold of steel and grating and made our own barbecue pits, 10 of them. And the city ran in a water line for us to have water for the people using the park. And then they unloaded a bulldozer in the water and came up on the beach with a dozen or 2 CBs and cleaned the park area so that it was more open for people to use. Somewhere along that way, he had a disagreement with the city. It got into a big argument, and he called me up one day and he says, Bob, sorry, but you got to get off my property. No more. And then he put a fence all the way around the property so nobody could use it. Ann Kolb was the commission chairlady, and she put pressure on Bill Horvitz to cooperate and take down the fence. And then ultimately, so Broward County ended up condemning and buying the private property that was along the way here, one of which was Bill Horvitz's property.
are standing alongside a sea turtle nest here in Hollywood Beach. There are 3 species of sea turtles that lay here on the beach. We have the loggerheads, the greens, and the leatherbacks. The loggerheads are by far the predominant species here, and Southeast Florida is the #1 nesting site of loggerheads. When the turtle comes ashore to nest, there is a crew that comes by and looks for the tracks, marks off the nest. This is for the turtle's protection of the eggs so that no topside activities can hurt the eggs as they're incubating. The turtles hatch out of their nest. They traditionally go to the lightest horizon, which is the ocean. However, because of the lights, they get disoriented and they come towards the Broadwalk. These lights, the black shield, is an attempt to shield the beach from the light and help the turtles make it seaward.
Now I'm just going to take you on a little excursion over to the Intercoastal at this point, because here's a little secret that most people don't know about. There's this really neat deck built right along the Intercoastal. There's 2 of them that you can walk along, fish, or just hang out and watch the nature and scenery. Hi. Keep heading north and you'll come to the Carpenter House. This was once a private residence. There's a rescued handicapped turtle that lives in the swimming pool. Over by the Carpenter House is where the Lions Club has their trash cleanup. Join them next time.
Diaper?
Lions roar!
Beach Clean Patrol! Let's go! Everybody join us!
Join us next time! Development of Hollywood continued at a rapid pace until September 18, 1926, when the Great Hurricane hit the area and left hundreds dead. The resort community would rebuild, but not before Young's Hollywood by the Sea went through bankruptcy, and many of the city's initial investors and speculators sold at a loss. Dania Beach and Hollandale Beach petitioned to be annexed into the city of Hollywood, but after the 1926 hurricane and bankruptcy, they didn't want anything to do with that and withdrew their offer.
Something you may not know about the 1926 hurricane, which obviously was disastrous in Hollywood. People seem to think in general that they didn't know what hurricanes were, or that they didn't even know that this one was coming. That's not actually true. They being the weather people in Miami, were actually saying, ships at sea are now telling us there's a major storm coming and we think it is going to track your way. Word did get to Hollywood about this major storm coming through telegraph, and they also had train signals. They had ways of announcing it. But the city of Hollywood didn't take action immediately. You know, they had 24 hours warning, but they didn't take action. Well, the reason was their leader, Joseph Young, the leader was actually out of the city. He wasn't there. He wasn't in contact particularly with anybody in the city because he was up north buying more barges as he was building the city. So the second and third and fourth in command tried to figure out quickly what to do, and they didn't have wood to cover the windows. They really didn't have any plans. Last minute, they were boarding windows up. And on the beach, they did get people to leave the beach. Mostly they could go into the beach hotel, the major hotel that Young had built. It was completed. So at least 100 or more people were in the beach hotel during the storm. It became an island when the storm hit. It's been standing, obviously, all this time, so it was very, very solid. A few windows blew out.
It took about 2 days after the hurricane that we could come down Hollywood Boulevard in a truck where the boulevard was about 2 feet, 3 feet deep with ocean and intercoastal water. and the mullet and every other kind of fish was swimming down Hollywood Boulevard going either way. And when we got down to the Hollywood Beach Hotel, my dad and I got out of the vehicle and went around to the backside being the east side, and we noticed that the ocean had receded but had left all of the sand blown up into the hotel. The entire bottom first floor was full of sand. The second floor was partially having sand, as well as the third floor. The wind had blown the fish up in there and then receded, leaving the fish behind. And my father would give me a potato sack and he would tell me, Robert, go up there and pick up the fish that are moving. Only the fish that are moving. They're still alive. They're okay to eat.
The hotel was really so solid, but the water went completely through it, the ground floor, totally through it, creating to the Intracoastal Canal, and filled that ground floor with sand. But Young was able to clean up the hotel and open it 2 months later for the 1926-27 season. If you'd like to read in detail about really anything about the founding of the city, try my biography of Joseph Young. But we have 20 oral histories of people, most of whom went through the storm, and their various stories are quite interesting.
A lot of people believe that the sea level is rising, so a lot of people are concerned about the future of Hollywood Beach.
I live on the beach on Harrison Street in A1A. And in 2009, when the water would come up on the king tide, it was like this. You see, oh man, there's some water. And then in 2011, that water was like this deep during the king tide. This year, it was this deep on the king tide. And coming right over the wall on the Intracoastal, right onto A1A. So as I understand it, they're talking to the Army Corps of Engineers, and I'm glad they're talking to them, but nobody's doing anything about this problem. There's been talk of a seawall. You know, we make a seawall here in Hollywood and then flood Hallandale and Dania, or are we going to go from that cut to that cut, and the Earth doesn't really care. Actually, it's trying to heal itself. So that's what's going on.
So back in September, we had a group of volunteers from Sealand, the cargo hauling company, and they wanted to come out and they wanted to adopt a dune. Their corporate partner, Dream and Green, and of course Youth Environmental Alliance came out here with approximately 20 volunteers, and we planted over 2,000 sea oats here. And I don't think some of them really understood why it was important, but I hope they'll come back here one day and they'll see their efforts were for a good cause and they actually were effective. And I hope for generations to come, they will bring their children and also show them the work that they did. And this is the sign that we posted here on this dune, which describes the program and why dunes are important.
Protect the oceans! Protect the rivers! Save the trail! Come on, Tim. What do we want? Clean energy! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Clean energy! When do we want it? Now!
Recently, the city installed barricades. The new security access barrier system is intended to deter errant vehicles from driving onto the Broadwalk, which unfortunately happens a lot. The barrier boxes and gate arms will receive decorative coverings and landscaping.
The CRA was established in 1997. The CRA and the city built a retaining wall, Moby mats for handicapped access, showers, water fountains, restrooms, planter boxes, benches, and a lot more. When the retaining walls were first built, they had neon light inserts, and it was pretty magnificent. They changed colors and everything. But within about 6 months to a year, it all rusted out. The new LED light fixtures with shields decrease the light pollution and create a safer environment for nesting sea turtles. But my favorite feature are these mosaics that feature different things about Hollywood. On Roosevelt Street, it talks about the guy who rowed his boat from offshore of Africa all the way to Hollywood Beach 50 years ago on his canoe called the Britannia. And heading further still, you'll come to this pathway. This was damaged by a recent hurricane also, and it was closed for a little bit, but it's open now. And if you walk or ride your bike alongside it, it'll lead you right up to the Dania Beach Pier. So as a final excursion, let's take a quick ride on the water taxi. If you haven't taken the water taxi up to Fort Lauderdale, you should. Take the early boat, spend the day in Fort Lauderdale, and come home on the last boat. It launches from Margaritaville's 5 o'clock somewhere bar. You can get some discount tickets for bars and restaurants along the way, and the captain tells some really interesting stories and tidbits of information about all the stuff that you're gonna see along the way. Highly recommend it. Here's an abandoned dock that's going to be undergoing some change soon, I hear. And this is Homeless Island and the sailboat hangout. You know, you don't have to pay any taxes if you're in a boat. You just live there, and that's what people do. And here's that deck we were on earlier.
It's a pretty cool place. They have one of their signature sandwiches is called a heart attack burger.
Further north, you'll see Tiki Tiki. It has rave reviews. Before it used to be Jimbo's. That was a lot of fun. They had karaoke and great times. And before that, it was Martha's. And Martha's was the launching point for the Sun Cruise Casino, where you would ride out to the Bahamas, and then there was that controversial murder of the owner of all that. So we're going to end our tour here at Port Everglades, which I feel is very appropriate, because this was also a brainchild of Joseph Young. The building of Hollywood Harbor at nearby Lake Mabel will provide a great new seaport where industry will be developed and add to the business activity and prosperity of this thriving, growing city. Come to Hollywood by the Sea in Florida and learn what life can really hold for you. It was once Lake Mabel. He wanted to develop it into the Hollywood Harbor, and now it's Port Everglades, one of the busiest ports in the world. Thanks for strolling with me on Hollywood's Broadwalk. And I do mean stroll. When you visit, walk slowly, stroll. Take in the sights, the sounds, the smells, the synergy of my beach, your beach, our beach, Hollywood Beach. I'll see you on the Broadwalk, or maybe on Surf Road, but that's another story.
Hollywood Beach Broadwalk. Why?
Why not? Have you looked around? The place is amazing. You got your freaks, you got your normal people. No one cares what you do for a living. Everybody's equal here. And the landscape is beautiful. The music's great. I don't understand the question.
Born here in Hollywood. I've lived a few places, but you can't argue with the scenery, the weather, the atmosphere. Different races, different makes of people. Everybody's welcome here. Everybody has fun.
Más exclusivo, menos gente, la gente es más nice, hay más espacio, está más limpio, por muchas más razones.
¿Podemos patinar? Sí.
Me gusta Hollywood Beach porque disfruto esto del mar, la arena, la gente es muy cálida. Puedo patinar, puedo rentarme una bicicleta, puedo rentarme una scooter y me divierto mucho aquí en esta playa.
Todo súper lindo. Me gusta.
It's one of the best places to live. I moved here back when I was only 6, 7 years old, back in the 1970s. My mom and dad moved to Hollywood Beach from Long Beach, Long Island, New York. So I went from one island to the other. I remember riding my bike along this Broadwalk, my friend on the handlebars. It was still asphalt.
Life is beautiful. It's all in what you want it to be. I want it to be good for me. So I come here. I can do Fred Astaire, Michael Jackson. What's the other guy that goes?
I found the Broadwalk almost 20 years ago by being contracted to do a job for 2 weeks, and I did not leave. I made Hollywood my home, and I have never looked back. I love Hollywood.
I love it.
Okay, can we get the lights, please? So, awesome. So raise your hands if you learned something new today. Almost everybody. Awesome. You folks in the back knew everything about Hollywood Beach. All right. So a few things before we take questions that I just want to share with everybody. I'm not going to put this immediately on the website. Give me a month because I'm trying to get this on WLRN, and part of it is the exclusivity. So if anybody has any connections or wants to call up WLRN and say that you've seen the movie and you want to see it on TV, please do so. You're encouraged. With no commercials. Exactly. I also want to tell you a new venture that I started. These movies that I make, I do volunteer. I didn't get paid to make these. So I do this because I enjoy it and I love it. But, you know, I do have to pay the bills and I do have to eat. So I did start a new business venture. It's called myjourneygift.com. And the theory is that everybody's journey through life is a gift for future generations. So we're creating biography videos for everybody. So if you or you know somebody that has an interesting story to tell, please get in touch with me. If you want a card, I'll give you one today. It's myjourneygift.com. Also, I'm not sure who's been to the new Block 40, the new food hall downtown. I'm trying to see if we can get a dinner and a movie night there, and this will be one of the premiere movies that will play there. I'm in negotiation with them, so maybe we could see it there, and also highlight either other movies that were produced in Hollywood, not just mine. I'd like to reach out to the filmmaking community and get other people to bring in their movies, and also maybe some old movies that are out of copyrights. I mean, like Meet John Doe, and believe it or not, the one we see every Christmas. What's that called? It's a Wonderful Life. That's not copyrighted, so we can show movies like this in the food hall. I think that would be fun. And finally, today I am recording testimonials for the movie to help promote the movie. If you'd like to say something, if you the cameras in the back. Claude, thank you very much for helping me out today. Claude, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, those Claude, good guy. And so if you'd like to leave a quick testimonial, please do so. I encourage you. I'll be here until the cows. Thank you. And so, are there any questions about the movie? Anybody have any questions? I wish Dr. Joan were here. She's really the heart of this, and she taught me a lot about being accurate. If there's one thing that I brought away from not only the knowledge that this woman has about the city that you saw in the movie, but she's a stickler for being accurate. So everything that you've witnessed, and there's no allegedly in this movie, everything that's in that movie is fact and it's real.
Right.
So, sir.
Yeah, I was curious. I got a lot of background with the Hollywood Beach Hotel back in the 60s and 70s. Are they going to tear that building down and rebuild it, or what are they going to do with it?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows anything different than me, but there is still, they are saying that they want to preserve it, but there's been no real commitment. No permits have been pulled. I'm sure they will end up building some monstrosity on the property somewhere, like the one that's currently to the southwest of it, where it used to be a pool.
It should be preserved.
I agree, and if we all had the money, I'm sure we'd all do a little fun, sell a couple cupcakes and raise some money and buy it ourselves. But
You'll give me some information for WLRN. One of my neighbors works at WLRN, and I can get that information.
please do so. Thank you very much. That would be appreciated. That'd be lovely.
Steve, question.
Yes.
Over what time period did you record?
Well, when Karen approached me, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago to do the film, and I thought, I'll just interview a couple people at the Historical Society, but I started going through my archives because I'm like Feldman over here, who's always recording. Everybody, if you know Feldman with the Hollywood Beach TV, Hobie TV, I would just go and just record stuff because that's what I enjoy doing. And so when I started looking through my archives, I found some of the old footage, and I said, well, wow, this would maybe be a little more interesting if we put older footage. So the oldest footage is from 2017 of my original footage in there. And Jerry, right? So Jerry, thank you. Jerry is one of the Hollywood band shellers, and so is Maria back here.
In Steve's next documentary.
So my next documentary that I want to make is, I've been lately spending a lot of time at the Hollywood Beach Band Shell, and if those of you don't know, there's a free concert series Wednesday. Well, it's said it in the movie, Wednesday through Sunday at 7 to 9 at the Band Shell. And I started going out there just to get some exercise, to be a little bit social. And I realized there's some really cool people that go there almost every night. And I said, wouldn't this be a neat documentary? So stay tuned for that's going to be my next documentary. And thank you, Jerry, for coming out. He's going to be starring in the next project. Hi.
Environmental issues.
Shh, can we get quiet, please?
Environmental issues. Perhaps creating some dialogue in creative ways, talk circles, more gatherings of regular focus on such issues. As I wander my childhood beach, I see that there is more trash now, more cigarette butts, etc. And interconnecting in that way with the community is what creates magic for each of us, every human. So the Hollywood Hotel, which my father worked on in the early 50s, Charles Reed, Florida architect. Perhaps, and these are organic ideas, not official things, but when we come from the heart, say gatherings around the hotel at times where we continue to film, speak out, share thoughts about preserving it, maybe finding ways to even connect with larger developers around the state that may be interested in buying it. Of course, that's a long shot. But just a regular focus on the magic of Hollywood Beach that we love, and speaking of that, with those that are just visiting for the first time, etc. So just some thoughts.
Thank you for sharing it. I think most of the people in this room would agree with you, since we are the Hollywood Historical Society. I think we all appreciate the value of that lovely property and what it was. I don't know if it swept by too quickly, but after the 1926 hurricane devastated the city of Hollywood, and the population went from 18,000 residents down to 2,500 residents. And Joseph Young was scrambling because all his investors withdrew, and so he was losing money. And apparently, allegedly, I'm saying allegedly because I don't know if this is a fact, but he was doing somewhat unscrupulous things to maintain his hold onto it. And Bill Horowitz, who we talked about in the movie, he was the gentleman who was contracted to pave the streets. And he came knocking on Joseph Young's door. He said, "Hey, pay me for paving the streets. I don't care if there was a hurricane. You owe me money. And if you don't pay me, I'm not only going to tell about your unscrupulous actions, which would, deter future investments, but, I'm going to take this legal and I'm going to take it away." And so apparently on the steps of the Fort Lauderdale courthouse, Joseph Young signed away all of his holdings in the city of Hollywood, and he built, the City Beautiful movement in Hollywood had, you'll still occasionally see this, they buried the wires in the Lakes District. You won't see any overhead wires. The driveways were all in the back alleys because car driveways were unsightful. I still think they are today, but now practicality has come out. You'll still occasionally see a property that doesn't have a driveway in the front yard, but originally they didn't have driveways in the front yard. So he donated land for the Hollywood Beach Golf Resort, that's still there, the Women's Club, and so many other things. I mean, the city wouldn't be here. Well, there'd probably be something here, but I could go on.
You mentioned WLRN. I'm interested in PBS.
WLRN is PBS.
I have a friend at PBS.
Oh, beautiful. Please tell him that you saw the movie, and especially if you liked it. If you didn't like it, don't say anything, but maybe pretend that you liked it. I don't know. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Claude?
I think it's a great video, and I think it's something that anybody that comes to visit Hollywood should watch it, because you go back so many years and you really hit, you hit a lot of things. So I think everybody needs to see it, because it's a great PR video for anybody who's coming to visit or wants to invest or wants to vacation also as well.
Well, the city is coming up on its 100-year anniversary, and this movie is strictly about the beach, but I'd love to create another one about downtown Hollywood in its 100 years. And I actually did approach the mayor to see if there might be some funding to help produce something like that, because I think it's very valuable, especially since, in a few months it'll be our 100-year anniversary. So what are we waiting for?
An election.
Awesome. Yes, woman.
Let's just take advantage of it. Can I make another pollution?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm living at South Lake and just splashed on it. I mean.
And she rode her bicycle here, so I'll be very. Oh, and by the way, environmental concerns. Thank Kat Uden for bringing in the recyclable, the non-plastic forks for our cake that you all enjoyed in Miramar Bakery. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So as you wander South Lake and North Lake, and I'm also an outrigger paddler with Manakila, a club that's based at the end of Johnson, near, the pier that's in your film.
All right, tequila and
what? Through the lakes a lot and along there. And I mean, you see whole pieces of furniture, vast amounts of every kind of plastic you can't even fathom, floating up, against the edges of the shoreway. And once in a while, when the water is really low, you see literally tens of thousands of piles of plastic covered with algae below the water. So it's suffocating what's left of the wildlife, etc. And of course, you all know this, but to get to a point where we speak in a very passionate, creative way about what's happening to the ocean, by way of doing that in Hollywood for Florida. I don't know, just something that I think
maybe that could
we're
be
going to
why
have to
Steve-
do.
another film for Steve, and the next time you go out there and slow tide, get pictures and video of all that stuff. And
As an artist, I speak out that way, I'm doing paintings and whatnot. So more of that kind of creative focus, and wonderful people that have history in South Florida too being involved with that.
Yeah, if we could eliminate single-use plastic, that would be ideal. And unfortunately, it's the impetus is always on the end user. Well, it shouldn't be on the end user. It shouldn't be making it to begin with. But unfortunately, this country is all about cheap, quick profit. And plastic is cheap, quick profit. And that's what makes this country, I don't know, whatever. So, thanks again. Please, if you want to make a testimonial, please give a quick testimonial in the back of the room. Stay for the raffle for this fabulous, the raffle. Okay.
What did you think of the movie?
Oh my God, it was fabulous. It was so wonderful. Stephen, you're the best, sweetheart, old Philly boy. It was wonderful, Steve. Love you. Mwah.
Well, first of all, I'll say my name is Professor Stephanie Noria Sabato, and I teach visual communications and design. And I want to say that it was well done, well documented, very clear, personable, brought in the human aspect of Hollywood Beach and why we love living here. Thank you.
So it was a fantastic documentary, and you went back many, many years, which is great, pre-COVID. And I mean, listen, if there's anybody who's going to, capture the beach, it's you. You're always there. You're very animated, and you're a great guy, and you really know the history of what's going on here. And I like the fact that everything wasn't alleged. It was fact.
fabulous.
So, excellent work. They should actually put it on JetBlue, on the little TVs on JetBlue, so when people land,
I thought the movie was fantastic. I've been in Hollywood over 25 years. Steve captured the thrill, the wonderful qualities of Hollywood, and only he could do that. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Don. It was great. Fantastic to know that you care about the beach so much. Thank you for that. And my father taught me to swim and be in tune with nature and the reef and the coral when I was 3 and 4 on Hollywood Beach. I was born in Hollywood. And he was a free diver. One day with his friends in the 1950s, he went out and they found a 300-year-old wreck way out, free diving. Dragged the ancient cannons from that wreck up onto the beach. And to this day, and I haven't gone to see them yet, they're residing in front of a public building on the beach way down somewhere, and I have to find out to this day. And I miss the quietness of my childhood Hollywood Beach. The music is so loud all the time. And what a pity there's so much pot floating in the air instead of sea breeze, the scent of ocean air. But I mean, it's still a magic place, and I'm here because I care about it. And my father, Charles Reed, Florida Architect's legacy, his Hollywood legacy. And so let's keep shining our lights to speak out. And yay, let's save the Hollywood Hotel too. Love you. Aloha.
Steve, I was more than impressed because I have lived here now 35 years and I thought I knew the Broadwalk, I thought I knew the history, baby, but you killed it. And thank you so much.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I'm so glad you could be here.
The movie is amazing, just like our Broadwalk, and it just goes to show with the audience reaction how much we love our beach in Hollywood, and we need to save it, we need to preserve it, we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep it special,
A lot of people say we don't want it to turn into Sunny Isles, so we need to make sure that we are creating policies, protecting it, and showing films like this to show how special it is. And thank you for making this film. It's excellent.
It was fabulous. Love you, darling. Love you, darling.